What's going on, everybody? JD here, and today we're gonna make some progress on this freaking car. So without further ado, roll intro. So what am I gonna do on the car today? Well, frankly, I'm gonna do as much as I possibly can before I get burnt out and angry. So let's get started. The first thing I'm gonna do, and you can't see it, I'll have to point you down at it. Let me move that box right there. Right, I'm pointing at it, but there we go. Make it look right. That box right there has got all my oh, hey train, way to interrupt my video. Stop honking. Stop honking. Stop it. It's got all my push rods and rockers in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those installed, so let's get started. Oh, by the way, in case you happen to have noticed, I am a bit salty. But that's what I'm gonna talk about today. Not that I'm salty, I think that's kind of apparent that I'm in a bad, oh, morning glories. Anyway, saw pretty flowers. Not so much about the fact that I'm salty, but the fact that it doesn't do you or anybody else any good. First and foremost, when you've got a problem or something bothering you or something that you want to whine about, there's only one person that it affects, and that's yourself. Me being whiny or salty about my car does nothing but slow me down and put my car back together. So if there's anything that I want to be inspirational about today, is that you're only a detriment to yourself with a negative attitude. I mean, yeah, you can affect others and all that stuff, but if you're really trying to better yourself, you're really trying to grow, or really trying to get something done, or start a business, or make money, or just be happy, that negative attitude that'll come up out of nowhere is only affecting you. You know, it'll affect your relationships with other people. It'll affect your ability to be productive. It'll prevent you from doing the things that you want to do. So, for the lack of a better way to say it, because this is how I'm saying it to myself, get the heck over it. Now let's get started. Alright guys, well, I'm going to start on the passenger side here. I'm going to put the push rods in and get my rockers on there. And actually, while not absolutely necessary, if I just wanted to quote unquote send it, I'm actually going to rotate the engine over in the firing order to torque down my rockers, just because my OCD is not allowing me to be ghetto and just throw it together. So I'll be showing you guys that process, as well as my nitpickiness to make sure this all works correctly. I'm going to be using two lubricants. First and foremost, some Ultra Slick on my contact surfaces, like the tops of the valves. I'm going to be coating that in the tips of the rockers, and I'm getting a little bit of oil on the push rods and the top of the lifters as I put it all together, just because it's a good practice to make sure everything's lubricated. These are all contact, high RPM, high motion parts. For example, for every oh man, I'm probably going to say that wrong. I'm going to leave that part out of there and annotate it in here, but I think it's 2 rotations of the camshaft for every single rotation of the crank, or it's 2 rotations of the crank for every, I believe I got it right. I think it's 2 rotations of the camshaft for every single rotation of the crank. I don't know. I'll look in that and make sure I'm telling you correctly. All I'm saying is that the Valvetrain moves a whole lot and makes a lot of contact on the top of your valves, on the top of the push rods, and the push rods contacting the lifters there. So I'm going to make sure all that's very well lubricated. Anyway, I'm going to start putting this crap together. Alright, as you install your rocker arms, you want to go in the firing order of the car. Now once again, I said I'm doing this a lot more detailed than really is necessary with stock rockers. Typically you could probably just quite frankly. Torque them down to the spec and send it. But I'm actually a little too OCD for that. So what I'm going to do is go in the firing order of the car and rotate it around to get, you know, every 90 degrees to get the next two of the firing order. And I'm going to torque these to spec. It says 18 to 25 foot-pounds, being that my engine's worn. And I don't know how old these rockers are and the bolts and all that. Maybe have a little bit of clearance. I'm going to go for the top of the spec, which, you know, it's at 18 to 25. So I'm going to torque them to 25 foot-pounds. I got it at top dead center, and I've got rockers or pistons 1 and 3. This is 1, this is 3. I'm going to go ahead and get these torqued to 25 foot-pounds. All right, simple as that. Now I'm going to rotate the engine, and I don't know the firing order by memory. I'm gonna pull it up on my trusty, dusty Google, and keep moving on from there. So hang tight for a little bit of a time lapse. Well, it wraps up the Valvetrain. wipe the slop off my face. But yeah, that wraps up the Valvetrain. I've went in the firing order, which well, my phone's hidden somewhere over there, but it's 13726584 or 48, one or the other. It's the 5.0 HO firing order. I'm trying to remember it correctly. Double check me, or I'll put it in down here in the bottom of the video right here. Yeah, I'm looking at the screen. Anyway, so I went and rotated the crank 90 degrees between every pair of cylinders that fire, so I could properly torque the rockers down. Not actually necessary for putting stock rockers back on there, but I'm OCD. I also took the Ultra Slick, which is right here. Let me close it up and wipe it off. The Ultra Slick. I lubricated the tops and bottoms of the push rods. I also lubricated the underside, the pads on the rockers themselves, as well as the shafts of the push rods. Just a light coat of lubrication, just to make sure there's no galling or anything like that going on. I then torqued them all to 25 foot-pounds. So they're all put together and they're all finished up. I've also, I didn't film this part, but I grabbed the crank, rotated over to top dead center on cylinder number 1 on the combustion stroke. That way, when I stab my distributor pointing at number 1, it's dead on 0 degrees before, and I can time and get the car started appropriately. That's it, guys. I hope you got something out of this video. I hope it helps you figure out how to do your Valvetrain. It's a lot easier than you would think. So like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.